Okay.
And we are now hot. Hot as my wife. This is Dantron 69K, and I am here with my dog Wolf.
Yo, what's going on?
And this is episode nine. Episode
Number
nine,
nine.
old school law. Welcome into the inner sanctum. We are here with you to experience what is retro gaming. It's been a bit, and I'm super excited. I'm really like holding it in. And this system is special for a lot of people, but some of you might not have experienced this system a little bit. And so I'm really happy that we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about it. Let some people that haven't really experienced it before maybe, I don't know, get a little interested in it, maybe want to look into it themselves. And then, of course, at the end, how we do this, we're going to go like, how is this really for a collectible system, retro system, grade it. And then, yeah, we'll just go from there. We were hoping to have a guest star. It kind of doesn't work out. Life happens. So, sorry, you get stuck with Wolf. I know you're excited about that, but you get me again, too.
Boo.
So,
Dantron. Woo!
yeah. All right. So, buddy, what do we got going on today?
Right. So today, just like our namesake Retro Law, we are going retro. We're going way back. We're going way back to when I was 2 years old.
Ooh.
1977, I believe, if I'm right, September 1977 is when the Atari 2600 was released here in the States. It was an amazing machine at the time. I want to say it sold, I think it sold 30 million units, if I'm correct. And I think the lifespan, I think it was discontinued in the beginning of January 1992. So if my math is right, 1977 and 1992, is that 15 years?
That's a long time.
Roughly?
That's a long
Just
time.
about?
And
Yeah,
that
15 years.
and that was the different iterations too, right? Because there was.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yep, yeah, right.
So the cool part about Atari is a lot of them were like, this was the first kind of systems that were backwards compatible, right? So as you got to the later Atari systems, outside of Jaguar, that's something totally separate. But outside of that, 7800, 2600, what was it, 5600? Was that the other one that was in the middle?
It was 20,
26, 5200?
26, 52.
Yep, and then 7800. I think those were the three, right?
78. I believe there was an 800.
Oh.
And then there was an Atari like ST. And then there was like a couple, like there was like a computer one.
Yeah,
like
the CTX or whatever that
yes,
weird one.
Yes,
is.
That's it.
Yeah, I think I have one of those games in here somewhere. They're super cheap games. Okay. Anyways, we'll get into that. But so I'm gonna take a second just to lay it all out there. So I do have an Atari. Oh, actually, we were just talking about them, so I could show them. So this is my 7800. I have a 2600 somewhere. 7800. If I'm gonna play a console, I mean, because you can play 2600 games on it, so you just might as well have one out. So that's why I knew where this one was. Very, very cool systems. Their design was pretty similar, like in a lot of ways, where they always had kind of the like side kind of slanted. It's just some of the older ones. You remember how it goes? The wood grain.
Hold on one second. You keep talking.
Everybody remembers the wood grain. But what I want to say about that is, oh, and let's see, we got serial numbers on the back of this thing too. But what I want to say about Atari is, it was not my system. I'm a little bit younger than Wolf, not much though. Real close. So my first system that was in this kind of, I don't know, time period was actually an Intellivision. Intellivision was really, ooh, look at that. I could show you my actual Lego set. That's the one I knew where it's at, but that's the one right there.
This is the old school wood grain. I'm trying to see what the patent is here, or if there's a date.
So cool, dude.
It's awesome. Look at this. It says, what's this sticker say? Call toll-free Atari Super Service. It's a 1-800 number. What do you think?
That super service number is probably going to get you a different super service nowadays.
Yeah, no doubt.
But Wolf, will you hold that up again? I want to show you guys something cool there. So mine is different, but so what I want you to see is, you got the front? Check out the front of mine. What do you see in the front of mine?
Oh, you got Is that a place for
the controller
controllers?
ports are in the front. You want to see something cool? Wolf, where are the controller ports on that one?
Are they in the back?
They
Oh my
are.
God, they're in the back.
They are. They're, you know what? It's one of those
If I could
freaking.
there it is.
It's one of those freaking weird ones that are like. It's like the Dreamcast controller. You know, where the wire comes out of the bottom. It's like it doesn't make sense. That's just kind of awkward. But that. So you had the controllers would plug into the back of the 2600, which was always kind of wild. Also, Wolf knows the nerd fact, and he shared it on the Sega Genesis episode. The controllers were interchangeable because
Oh,
they had
right.
the
Yep.
same acceptor,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
some of the like later games, the 7800 games, and like you said, I want to say there was like an 8000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to use an actual Genesis controller if it would work. Sometimes it's a little wonky, but really really cool system. But again, wasn't my system. I do have some games I'm going to talk about. I do remember playing some games, but growing up it wasn't it. It went from for me it went in television. And then I kind of stretched that out because I was younger until I jumped straight into NES. So there was a little bit of a gap in there. But as some of you know, I'm a avid kind of old school retro collector. It was later in life that I actually started picking up Atari stuff because who doesn't have an Atari? If you call yourself a console gamer and a collector and you don't have some form of Atari, you got to just pause for a second because they are not super expensive. They're freaking all over the place, like Wolf already talked about. And the main reason is there wasn't a whole lot out there. Like, you wanted video
Mm-hmm.
games, you wanted usable, affordable video gaming at home. This was when the arcades were getting big and stuff too. Atari was where it's at. That's why there was so many of them out there. I don't know if it was because of their advertising. I don't know if it was because of the namesake. I mean, because it really, you could see Atari in the arcades and then just transferred Atari at home. So I mean, maybe that's it. That's just my theory. What do you got, Wolf?
Yeah, so I love everything that you're saying. So, I remember, well, I don't remember. I remember my dad telling me that when he got our first Atari, when it first came out, it was 189.99,
Oh,
$190. So I want to say like in the mid 1970s, that was a lot of money back then for a console. And I think, and you're right, because the Atari brand was huge. You had like what was it, Crystal Castles.
yep.
I'm trying to think of like some Atari games in the arcade that were really popular.
There was like a tank game, I think. There was,
Yeah.
yeah, Battle
Um,
Tank or whatever.
Battle Tank, like I think there was a game
This,
called Food Fight in
what
the
was the one?
arcade.
Was it Sea Wolf? Wasn't that Atari too that did
Was
that?
that? Yeah, that might have been Atari. See, where you look into the
Yep.
like thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I wish kind of our guest was here to confirm this, but I think what put Atari on the map was the company Activision.
Oh yeah.
And Activision was making or helping to make games for Atari. They made some of the best games. They're the games that I remember, like Pitfall and what were some other of the big Activision games? Barnstorm, Stampede.
Oh yeah.
These were huge, huge games by Activision, and they had some really hip programmers at the time. I believe one of their names was David Crane. He was huge. He's the guy that did Pitfall, and they just were making insane games. I hearken Activision at that time to like Capcom and Konami during the Nintendo days.
Okay.
Everything Capcom or Konami put out, especially Capcom, was gold for the old school Nintendo.
Almost like Rare too. We'd already talked
Yeah,
about that.
oh yeah, definitely. Oh my God, definitely. Great comparison there. But oh well, I had a point to this story. I think I was I don't know what
No,
the
no.
point of it was.
Great. Activision, I agree with you. I mean, like, so what came down to me when I started paying attention to my cartridges, I think it came to something else a little different. I think it came down to department stores.
Mm,
And the biggest department store at the time was Sears. And guess who
yep.
was a huge backer of Atari systems? Was Sears. Sears and
Mm-hmm.
Roebuck. So if you start doing research and you start looking at packaging for games, like boxes, if you happen to have boxes for your games, you'll see a lot of them say Sears on them, like
Yep.
Sears and Roebuck or something like that. So I think that helped them as well because that was the place to be, right? Like there was no internet. right? That was back in the day where there was like J.C. Penney's, there was Sears and Roebuck, there was, these big department stores were really where it was at. And so, did that say Sears on there?
I want to prove that your host, Dan, knows what he's talking about. Look what
Yep.
it says there. Video cartridge for use with the Atari video computer system and Sears
Yep.
Video Arcade right on the box for Donkey Kong.
Yep. So I think that was something. Because see, again, I think back and I kind of reflect on things. Any of you that really know me, I'm constantly, my brain's constantly running on things like, why is it that way? Why is this way? Why is the sky blue? I understand refraction and all that kind of stuff. Why is the ground hard? I understand. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do that stuff for video gaming too, and like I got to make sense of things. Like there was other things out there. Like I had an Intellivision. It was really cool, but it had a weird controller with this weird disc on it and stuff. And then I was never really introduced to Atari until later in later in life, of course. But I wanted to know why it wasn't just the only one out there. And it's like they had a lot of games. They had really good not only first but third party support. And then I think because they were tied into Sears, I think that was a big thing for them as well. So
yeah,
that's just my
no
hunch.
doubt.
So
yeah, and just for transparency for everybody out there, I was not really an Atari kid. Like I got to be honest, I was more ColecoVision. Dan, you said Intellivision. We were insane with ColecoVision. Like we just thought the graphics and the games from the arcade translated much better than Atari, and we'll get into that later. Just don't say the word Pac-Man right now, or I'll have
oh,
to
dude,
bail.
I'm gonna lick that cartridge. I have it here. I'm gonna lick it. I'm gonna smell it. I'm gonna show everybody. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's just start into it. I'm gonna throw my first game out there, and it's gonna
Cool.
be a fun one because it is the absolute bane
Yeah,
of Wolfman's existence.
yeah.
It is Pac-Man. Pac-Man
Oh.
for Atari. Yeah, this game right here, I do remember. This was one of the first Atari games I played. It was fun. I never really played Pac-Man in the arcades, so it wasn't that big of a disappointment to me. It was just not. Pac-Man never really grabbed me in the arcades. I played it more on the Atari than anything else, believe it or not. It is a really cool. I mean, any of you guys that know Atari games, right? So the games are just kind of squares and blocks, and they got the cool little. But yeah, this game was the first time I played this game, I'll tell you, I was over at a friend's house, and we just got done watching. What did we watch? We watched some Transformers, and then we were watching an episode of the old school V. You remember that the show
Yeah.
V, the original one? So
Sure.
that tells you
With
how
the
long
alien.
ago that
Yeah.
was. So. And I remember pulling, and we took a break, and we pulled it out. We pulled out these freaking crazy controllers, which feel like mush now today if you play any Atari games. And I was like, oh, okay, I get how this works. This is how we played, right? And this was my first foray into Atari. And so the first game that pops into my mind, even though it isn't really a good translation, is Pac-Man. So what do you got on this one, Wolf? Because I know you got something. Give it to me, my brother.
And I don't want to like go on a long-winded story, but unlike Dan, my father and I, we were big Pac-Man arcade players. Like I would play my father, and we would try to best one another for high scores. So we really loved the arcade. And when we found out that it was coming out for Atari, we were going nuts. And I remember there was a local video store near my house growing up, and my dad went there, and I remember, God, what did he say? It was $60 or $70, brand new. It was like ridiculous. And he took it home, and we were excited. We were going to have a tournament, and just like, we popped in the game. And I think this is the first time I ever cursed in front of my dad. I forget how old I was, but he put it in, and I was like,
you said, take it back out. Just like that's what she said too. Like, take it back out. No.
yeah. I like looked at it, and I'm like, what is this shit? Like, and my dad's like, what did you say? I'm like, what is this shit? This isn't Pac-Man. This doesn't look anything like the arcade. And then we like played it, and it was like blue and like flashing and didn't look anything like Pac-Man. And I just remember totally being disappointed. My dad being disappointed. It was the first time in that I can remember that I was absolutely thoroughly disappointed with a video game. Usually I could find value in any video game. The video game could suck today, and I'll find something about it I like. I found no value whatsoever in that Pac-Man translation.
So
None.
what you're telling me is there's no redeeming qualities for Pac-Man
There's
on
none.
Atari.
Not that version.
I
There's no redeeming quality.
I beg to differ. Just quickly, I'm going to touch on it. Look at this packaging, baby. Look at it. It just looks awesome. This is what they got you to buy the game for. It's like, look at that. They spent all the programming budget on this package. It was bright.
Exactly.
It was happy. Look at how happy this guy is. He's just like, man, this is great. Oh, well, yeah, go give him a high five. Yep. So there, one redeeming quality, and it looks like he's grabbing one of the like power pellet hot dog things. Right
oh
there.
yeah,
like
it looks like he just got laid by Mrs. Pac-Man. I mean, he's very happy in that picture.
And look at how hungry he is. Look at he's eating like right there. Look at he's like
yeah.
Hey, Kool-Aid. But anyways, okay, so that's the redeeming quality that I'm gonna say for Pac-Man. Yep. Oh yeah. And so that's what I got for my first one, Wolf. What do you got?
Oh God. Okay. All right. I didn't know we are going fast and furious then.
Oh, I mean, you can keep talking about Pac-Man. I know you can.
No,
I want to pull up the old school feelings. Just get angry, Wolf again. What episode did we have that in where we got angry, Wolf? What was it? Oh, it was the N64, the last episode. N64,
oh yeah,
the Castlevania. Just getting just like, and
then
I need my gold cartridge of Ocarina of Time. Sorry, derailed. I'll pull it back again. That Dantron. Sorry.
That's okay. So here is a game that I remember as a kid, and I had to get it complete in the box. It's not a very good game at all, but it's a game I remember playing. It's a very simple game. It was called Combat, and you had like a tank, and I think there was like some jet fighters. It had like a couple different types of games built in, and I just remember having fun with it. But you know, going back, like if you're on emulation and you want to check it out and you look at it, it's like it's almost unplayable today. It's a shame, but I'm telling you, I had fond memories of this game. Was it a pack-in game? I don't know if it was
playing it at my buddy's house. I remember playing it. That was the one that we played with the tanks that you would kind of
I don't know. I could swear
it might have been
Combat might have came with it, or maybe it was a launch title.
Or was Battle Tank? Maybe it was Battle Tanks, where like the was it?
Game. I don't know. It was one of them. I remember a tank game being one of the first games I played. And it's not a very good game at all today. And by the way, and I think Dan could attest to this, none of these games hold up today. Like you're not, and first off, you can't like hook this stuff up anymore unless you have an old TV that has coaxial hookups. I don't know how you're going to hook this up to a modern TV.
There are hookup adapter boxes that you can get that will work. You can adapt, but I want to caution people because it just happened to me, so I'm going to talk about it just quickly. Overall, older consoles, be very, very careful on the adapters you choose. Specifically, adapters that are powered. Adapters that are powered, you tend to have problems sometimes with the power going the wrong direction through the video feed, and you can fry your console. Sometimes people will say that doesn't happen. It just happened to me on one of my other consoles. So just be careful. Atari, you can get adapters. And so whenever I say adapters, yes, there are adapters out there. I'm going to caution you because we haven't met eye to eye. But believe it or not, I do care about you, and I care about your gaming experience. And this is Dantron trying to really just help you. Pay attention to wired adapters that are powered. Just be careful because some of these consoles, you fry them, they're done. Right? There's not a whole lot of them out there. Or you have nostalgia. Like for me, my console that fried was my original GameCube. But now I'm doing research on changing boards and stuff because it's a part of me, right? So it hurts. So I don't want that to happen to one of your consoles, especially if it's something that you've had with you for a while. So this is, again, sorry, took it away from Atari for a second, but older retro consoles, just take care of it. You can hook them up, but you're going to need to get some sort of an adapter and just be careful in the adapter you choose.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm holding back a tear. I'm telling you,
It's retracted.
what you just said was a public service announcement. It harkens back to the Care Bear stare. Do you remember
That's
that when
right. Don't
all the
make me rip my
Care
shirt
Bears
off.
yeah, lined up and shot their rainbows at your ass?
Yeah.
That was beautiful. And I do feel bad. I remember when you told me what happened to your GameCube, and I know how much you love it, and I love it. And that's a really good tip to give people, because people would want to run out and get an adapter, and you just can't get an adapter and put it in and hope that it works, because you got to really do a little bit of research.
Yeah, you can't just stick it in, and there's no just the tip with adapters. You plug it in and it's wired. If it's going to cause a problem, it's going to fry something. So
Right.
don't impregnate your power supply the wrong direction.
It's to the base.
Dantron approved. Totally. So, yeah, so I'm going to touch now. Rewind back a little bit when Wolf was talking about how this system does not hold up. It just
No.
doesn't. It's the controls are crappy. Sorry, I'm gonna say it. The controls are horrible. It's just a nostalgia. It's a nostalgia retro console, and you're gonna find that because that's why everything's so freaking cheap for it. Like retro gaming has just exploded, right? Retro collecting and all that stuff exploded. This is one of the consoles that is the cheapest. It doesn't matter what it is, as far as the 2600 through the whatever the 7800 8000, the absolute cheapest to collect for. You can find them around. The games are super cheap, even some of the better games, because it does not hold up. And I'm gonna get some flack, and I'm gonna get some but the reason why I'm gonna catch flack is for people that say, "Oh man, I really like this game." I get it, but majority of the time you really like it is because of the nostalgia factor. It takes you
Yes.
back because you
Go back.
remember playing it. Oh, it plays fine for me. For you, as nostalgia going back, it usually does. But for most people, if you're getting into console collecting, we'll talk into that a little bit more. But I just want to touch on what Wolf said. A lot of these games, they just don't hold up. So
No.
so just gonna put that one out there. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Very few. And actually, it's funny, the games that do hold up on Atari are like the Activision games,
that's yeah,
like
very true.
Stampede and Kaboom and
Some of the Parker Brothers stuff too.
Barnstorming.
Some of the Parker Brothers stuff too. I
Yeah,
like. Yep.
it was Freeway. Remember where the chicken would have to like cross the road? Was that Activision, or was that Parker Brothers too? I can't
I
remember. That game was dope though.
yep. Yeah. So
All right, are you up? Or
I
you
am
want
up,
me to
and where is
go?
it at? Okay, next one that I'm gonna go to is you know what? I'm gonna do this one because I don't have a box for this one. I have a lot of boxes, but this is one I don't have a box for. But when we're talking about Atari and about one of those games that holds up today, this is
Mm-hmm.
very. Let's see who does it. Oh, and it's a Sega game. It's a
Mm.
Sega game,
I'm
and it holds
curious.
up. And if somebody didn't bring this up talking Atari, then we would have just people are gonna call for our retro card. Frogger.
That's Sega? Get the hell out
Frogger.
of here.
Yep. So I'm looking on the front. Let me read this for you real quick, Wolf. Trademark denotes the trademark of Sega Enterprises Inc. Frogger Game Graphics, 1982 Sega Enterprises Inc. Program content and label design, 82 Parker Brothers, Beverly,
Parker
Michigan.
Brothers.
There it is.
Yep. I got the box
Look
here
at
to
you.
hold up
Yeah,
for
just
you.
show that box. Look how sexy that thing is. So, but Frogger, anybody that played Atari, or even if you play newer games, newer game systems in Frogger, Frogger is one of those ones that is still fun. And it doesn't, you can play this on Atari. It's still a lot of fun. The mush controllers with the joystick made it a little bit more of a challenge, but the graphics were actually pretty good for Atari, for Frogger. The response was really good. It was nice and colorful as Atari could get, and it was just a fun game. You see how far you could go.
Yeah,
That's it.
agreed.
There was no game saves. There was none of that stuff. It was just like as far as you go, and it was an easy tournament game too, right? You'd pass the control like, oh man, I made it to level 2, and I
Yeah.
got 3 of them out of there. What can you do? Oh, I made it to level 3, and I got 1. So you just kind of work through it. But I really, really like this game. I still play it from time to time, not necessarily the Atari version, but Frogger definitely is one of those games that does have a nostalgia factor for me because I do remember this is one of the ones that I played at my buddy's house when I was out. Go ahead,
Ooh,
Wolf. We're just
that's a
moving.
good one. I love Frogger, and that you're right. That holds even today. All right. So the next game that I want to talk about, I don't have with me to show, but I do have it. Trust me. I think it's in storage. It's called Adventure.
Oh yes, Yep.
And to me, that was the game that got me going, like with kind of like a fantasy type of games. I want to say it's like your precursor to like your Zeldas and like your Dark Soul games, you know, like your
Close your ears, Wales.
right. And I just and oh, guess what? Nerd fact.
Give it to me. In my mouth.
Adventure, you already know this, but Adventure was the first game to have a Easter egg that was built into it, which was super cool. And I remember finding that out. I think you had to like take a key and like go into a certain room. And if you did, you saw like all of the like programmers that programmed the game or something like that. Super cool. A lot of fun. I remember 3 different dragons. There was like a yellow dragon, an orange dragon, and one was super fast and would chase you, and you had to get the keys and open up the different castle things. I thought it was a really cool game. It is god awful today. I mean, you're literally a square. That's who you are. You're a square. And you go around and you see this like square go from room to room, but I don't know. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I have very fond memories of Adventure.
So don't. We're talking dragon, like fighting dragons in there, not dragons like Badass Babes. If you've ever played that game, it's not the same kind of dragon. You're not going to get the same effect. So, also another nerd fact. It's not really a nerd fact because you guys know this already. Ready Player One. They talk about that game. And they
Do
talk,
they?
oh yeah, and that's one of the main pieces of that is that it was the first one with an Easter egg. And so the book, if you've read the book Ready Player One, or if you've watched the movie Ready Player One, if the title Adventure for Atari, you were thinking to yourself, where have I heard that before? That's where you heard it from. So good choice, Wolf. I don't remember ever playing that game. Tell you the truth. Straight up, I'm not going to say I played a game if I haven't played it. I've never played that game.
Okay.
Not ever.
But you can play it. That's the beauty. You could go in your Mega Cave when you're done, boot up Atari 2600. You'll play it for 30 seconds and you'll go, what the hell is this crap? And then you'll shut it off.
You know what I'll say is like, sweet, I played it.
And yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Just check that one off the list.
Exactly.
Oh
right.
my gosh. All right. So is it me now again?
Yeah.
Dude, I just want to fly through some of these because I think this is fun. A lot of us, like for me, I don't have the stories that I normally would have. I just, I played this at a friend's house. But this game was really cool. Again, I don't have the box for it, but I do have the book. So this was another one that was pretty cool. It was kind of a remake, sort of a arcade game. That's where it was. It clicked into my periphery, and it's Popeye.
Oh yes.
Popeye for Atari. So this game was a really cool game. As far as I remember playing this one, but we're talking about Atari. So let me show you what we're talking about graphics wise, because they have kind of some pictures in here. Let's see if we can look at. Any of you that have not played Atari, that's what you're looking at on screen, right? So you're gonna see just like yeah, right. And so you're gonna see just like that's the level design. Any of you that played the original Donkey Kong, kind of just similar, right? It's just 2D, you kind of just move around. But this game was lots of fun. I enjoyed it. Actually, I enjoyed it playing it over at my buddy's house, and that's one of the reasons why I have it. And here's another thing too. Side note: these most of these games were procured from a friend of mine. Sadly, that's a long story, but he's no longer with us, and so the cool part about this stuff that I have is I can remember him. I did actually play some of these games when we were little, and so this is another one of those games that really that makes me remember him, the fond memories, the times of sitting down, eating Cheetos, and just grabbing the controller and just passing it back and forth and having fun. So anyways, yeah, this is a cool game. I like this one. If you're going to play any Atari stuff, this is a fun one to try out.
Wow. Jeez. Well, I that's why I love this show, right? It's one take, and my memories of Popeye, and you're going to not be happy with me, but I used to call it Stink Eye.
It didn't look good. It didn't look good.
No, because, and I'm going to tell you why. I told you we were a ColecoVision fan, and Popeye on ColecoVision, if you compare the two, don't even do it.
Yep.
Because it's not comparable. And Popeye on ColecoVision looked and played way more like the arcade than Stink Eye for the 2600. So
Agreed.
I'll just leave it at that.
Agreed. And I am not hating on you at all. Like, normally this is not a game that I would pick up and play, but that's again, I had mentioned before, nostalgia. That brings up memories.
Definitely.
That's just, I don't even have to play it. I can just hold the cartridge in my hand and I can remember. So,
all right. Well, going off of what I just said, and I'm really I'm getting tired of talking about 2600. So like, I hope we can move on.
Oh no, we can jump all around, dude. If you want to bring out something else, it doesn't have to be any Atari game. Where we're stopping, we don't have a I don't have an Atari Jaguar. I just don't. And I'm not going to spend $900 on one right now. So
right. Guess what? Neither do I.
So we're gonna just talk about the Atari stuff that we have and that we know. So
all right, this is where, and you know what? If you got a problem, bring it on. Bring it on. That's what this is about. This is about Discord, and it's about, we're going to agree and we're going to disagree on things. Here is the boxed 2600 game. Now, I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to show you what the game looked like. Okay?
Got it.
Okay. You ready? This is going to hurt your eyes. I don't know if you can... Look at Donkey Kong. He looks like animated poopy. It is the graphics. I can't even tell you how awful they are, right? If you put this version of Donkey Kong against ColecoVision, it's a no-brainer. It's the same as comparing Stink Eye to Popeye for ColecoVision. Donkey Kong on ColecoVision looked like the arcade. The 2600 version looks like like you took 25 mushrooms. Oh, there you go.
This is where they redeem themselves.
Oh, good.
Keep talking about your other one, that the Atari, King Turd one.
No, I'm.
You're
I've
done.
had
You
it
just
for
threw
26. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
Yeah.
I don't like 2600.
So this is where they redeem themselves. Look at that. 7800.
Oh my God. Arcade.
It actually looks like
it's arcade.
Arcade, right?
Yeah.
All it took was 2 more iterations of the hardware.
Exactly.
And what's funny is I like the sticker on there. New. Yeah. There's nothing new about this game. This is but yeah,
great.
I did like this one, and I do. That's hence the reason why this is one of the ones that I actually had. But I like this one. This does feel good. The only problem with it again is the freaking mush controllers. I'm so done with the mush controllers. And like this is hot garbage. It just is. It's not fun to play with. And these aren't any better. These like half spinner ones. I mean, these are a little better, I guess, than certain games. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. But Wolf, good choice on Donkey Kong.
Here's an awful. This was like, okay, you want to not use the mushy controllers that Dan was talking about, then you could pick up this third-party Atari joystick, and it's no better. I mean, it's I actually feel this. No, I can't go there. But anyway, this is no good. This is no bueno. It's called the Wico Command Control. And I remember this being really tough to play games. Like it was no good. And now I'm going to show you something else since we're doing controllers. I found this at a flea market. So the box looks like garbage. Actually, it has a KB sticker on there.
Nice.
A bunch of graffiti on there. But this is the remote control wireless joystick. I'll show you a picture on the back. It's the same crappy joysticks that you remember that has an antenna coming off of it, and it goes to an RF receiver that you plugged in your Atari, and it made it wireless.
That's really cool.
It didn't help with your gaming other than you didn't have a wire because it's the same sucky controllers.
Right.
But I thought this was so cool. I remember when I saw it at the flea market, I said, I have to have this because
It's so
I've never
rare.
seen it. I didn't
Yeah,
even know it existed. You
it's
can
yep.
look at this. It says play up to 20 feet away from your console. Easy to hook up.
Yeah, when their TV,
Just
the
respond.
largest TV you could get at that point was probably like a 15-inch, and so you would be 20 feet away from a 15-inch TV. How fun is that, right? But
Yeah, right?
yeah, I mean, there's some weird stuff that came out there. But any of you that know older arcade controls, that's actually why they made the joysticks shorter. So there was less throw, so it didn't show as much that they were mushy, because they're all mushy. Even though if you go original, old school, a lot of them have been changed out a little bit, but they actually had contacts in the four areas, and usually there was like a wood board in there that you would just that was underneath the control, and it would just make the contact connect in the directions that it went. It was really, really wild. I have a 1982 Mr. Do tabletop, and if I could show you guys some point, the controls are actually on the side, but when you look at it, yeah, they're just like leaf switches that are in there that just contacts. That's all it is. And so there's this wood little piece of plywood that when you tilt the controller, it just pushes down on it. That's why it felt so mushy, but that's why they made them short throw. So the little bit of movement would push that down a lot further, so they felt more responsive. Yeah, sorry, nerd fact there too.
I
But
didn't know you had a Mr. Do tabletop arcade.
yep,
Oh my God, I love Mr. Do.
Mr. Do tabletop. Oh
God, I've
yeah,
known Dan
it's
for like almost 3 years, or has it been 3 years? I never knew you had a Mr. Do
I do.
arcade.
I do, Mr.
You
Do.
learn something every day,
I
I'll
like
tell
it.
you.
You're gonna have to. I actually replaced the plexiglass on the top too, so it looks all sexy. But that's just my
Ooh,
style. Um. So, but yeah, that's
nice.
yeah. Were you still going, Wolf?
I didn't go.
Oh,
I'm trying to think. I don't know what to do here.
do you want me just to go with another one while you're thinking about it?
Yeah, yes.
All right. Let's see. Where is it at? This is from my This is from my buddy Eric, and I love this game actually, and this one holds up really well too on 7800. I don't think it worked well earlier, but I'm gonna hold it up there for Eric, and it's Dig Dug for 7800.
Ooh,
This game is pretty freaking sweet, you
I think
guys.
I have that too.
Yeah, this game is a lot. Yep, this is actually a lot of fun. And again, but we're talking. You notice how we're saying these games are a lot of fun. Not for 2600. These are like
No.
7800. These are more like where ColecoVision was way back. So Atari had to get on the bandwagon, and up to Coleco's like, get on my level. And so so they had to follow up. And this is when it started getting good. The graphics started getting better, but again, controllers still were hot garbage. But yeah, this game right here, Dig Dug. Any of you that haven't played Dig Dug, it's one of those games. Oh, this is 1987. It's one of those games where you are basically trying to overfeed with your fart juices to make things explode. That's pretty much what it is. The fastest you can inject your
Yeah,
juices into some other
yeah.
creature and get them to pop. I'm not doing it, Wolf. That's too easy. It's
No,
like a
no,
T-ball.
because you could go a lot of different
I,
directions with that.
there's usually only one direction, Wolf. Sadly. Um, so, but that being said, you guys, Dig Dug, lots of fun. If you get a chance to check out anything Atari wise, you can check out the 7800 Dig Dug. I did play actually a lot of this game on Atari, and it's just again nostalgia. There are other systems you can play it on that are better, I believe. But if you want to play something on Atari, or you want to start collecting certain games for Atari, Dig Dug is one of the ones that I would pick up. Their box is great. I don't have the box, but the Dig Dug box is one of the ones that have really good art on them too. So
I
keep
think
an
I
eye
have
out
the
on that.
big box somewhere.
I know somewhere.
Anyway, what Eric was that? Eric A or Eric O?
Eric A.
Hey,
So
okay.
so we, yeah, our French Canadian friend. He loves him
Ah,
some Dig Dug.
ginger liqueur.
Ginger liquor, exactly.
Nice. Well, I got a quick story I'm going to tell,
Oh please.
and this goes something like this. It's called Right Time, Right Place. So I don't know.
Kind of like how I
Maybe,
got my wife.
yeah, Yeah. I want to say 1995 maybe. I was at a flea market and I was looking around and I saw a whole stack of boxed games. I'm like, what the hell's that? And I got closer and I'm like, whoa, there's 7,800 games. I'm like, all right, cool. So I like asked the guy, I'm like, so, what do you want for all of them?
Oh shoot!
He's like, well, that all the games or the stack, they're all sealed. I'm like, what are you talking about? A whole stack of brand new 7,800 games. I mean, they look
Joust.
like mint right off the shelf. Now I just grabbed a couple. It was a stack of 30. And I remember walking out like this, like I want to say I paid I think it was $30. I
Oh
think he
my
wanted
gosh.
$1 a game. And I said gladly gave him the $30 and I walked out with 30 sealed Atari 7,800 games. I mean, look at this. This is Joust sealed. It still has the goddamn sticker on there. I don't know if you could read the price.
No. What does that say? 8. I can't. I can't read it. It's a little blurry.
Okay, it says $2.
Oh my gosh. That's
Two
about what.
dollars
That's about what it'd be now anyway. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
compared to $29.99. It says on the sticker, and then there's like a little UPC sticker. But so that's my story. It's just so 7,800. Now they're boxed, so I had to. Now here's one that's not sealed that I found at a flea market. It's Summer Games. The box is a little beat
Like
up,
mine. Yeah.
but I want to play the games because I'm a gamer. I don't want them to sit on the shelf sealed. So I still went out and I still
Found them.
got all the games that I wanted loose so I could play them. Now, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to crack open the sealed ones when I could play the ones that I got, open. So I just thought that was a neat story. And that's just one of those times where, all the stars were aligned and it was early enough that it was before the whole retro video game craze. So I don't know. That was a goddamn steal.
And because they're Atari now, so that you paid $30 for all those, you'd probably be able to get $90 for all those.
If I'm lucky.
Oh my gosh.
If
So
I'm lucky.
yeah. So go ahead, Wolf. What's the what you got for next one?
So next one, I have one of my favorite games of all time. And I do mean all time. And there's still debate out there that our friend could still beat me in this game. But I tend to think that he can. And his name's Bill Rimmer. And it is a Galaga.
Oh.
For 7,800.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep talking, because yep.
And I'm teasing. We have this rivalry because I love Galaga, but I know he would smoke me in that game.
Dude, he has a freaking arcade of Galaga. He's
I
a
know.
cheater.
I know. I practice all the time, and I still get like a third of like his worst score every time I play. So I still love the game. To me, it's like Space Invaders, but better. It's a lot of fun.
Agreed.
The ship could come down. You could attach the two ships and get double firepower. And I just love that game. I mean, for a shooter, it holds up. It's great on 7,800. It looks like the arcade. So I can't complain. Definitely one of my more favorite games on that system.
Nice. Yeah, I love Galaga in general. Galaga's a lot of fun. Anybody that hasn't played Galaga, don't necessarily play it on Atari, but play that game. It is a lot of fun. It is a fun, simple game, but yet there's a lot of layers to it. Like it's one of the first ones that I felt that was like a shmup that you could figure out patterns. It's not like Asteroids or something where it was so random. You could figure out patterns, and once you figured out patterns, you could move through that game. But it was still freaking hard. It got hard quick. Like,
no, definitely.
It ramped up really fast. Great choice, Wolf. I love that game. I don't have that one on Atari though. But so the next one that I'm gonna touch on is the stuff of legend. Everybody knows about this game for Atari. Please
Hmm.
hold on to your butts.
Wait, do I know it?
It is E.T.
Oh no.
E.T. This is probably the most well-known Atari game for the wrong
Oh,
reasons. This game right here is such hot garbage. This game right now, actually, you know what's the sad part about this? It's probably one of the more expensive Atari games too.
yeah, I think
It,
you're right.
it's just this game, and actually, this one is in pretty good shape. The sticker's in
That
nice
looks great. Yeah,
nice
it looks
space,
really
nice
good.
shape there. There's a little dent in the center where the screw goes, um, but yeah, this game right here, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. It's more like E.T. the Extra Testicle right now because that's what it looked like when you were trying to play it, and it played like, oh, dude, it's terrible. Like I tried to think of something redeeming about this game, and you know what the redeeming qualities on this game is? The sticker. The sticker is it, and the fact that back in this was a number of years ago. What was it, Wolf? About 8 years ago, maybe, where they went the search for ET, and they went to an actual dump because that's what they did. This game was so bad, they were pushed to develop this game to try and get it out before the movie. It was rushed in development. It came out. It was freaking just blown up for just being hot, just dumpster fire, turds all over your shoes game. And so they had all these extra copies, and it was so bad that they were like, you know what, just take all these copies, we're gonna just throw them in the dump and bury them. Just try and forget like this ever happened.
Yeah.
And then somebody got the bright idea to go, wait, it was like looking for buried treasure. It was like National Treasure or Indiana Jones, where they felt like, we are gonna find this. Let's go on the search, this adventure for the worst game ever. And right, and
That's
so
Angry Video Game Nerd.
right?
Did that. That was
Yeah,
his
and
thing.
so they went, spent a bunch of money, found out where this place was, dug all these games up, and so you get still another crappy game, but because they found them, it was like, oh, we found gold, and it's Montezuma's Revenge or whatever. But this game, that's what it's known for, is being so bad, and then also being linked to the infamy that was when it was created, how it was buried, how it was dug up. Yes, Atari 2600, ET. I would say this is, for me, the absolute worst game I have ever played. And I've played some bad ones, like Custer's Revenge, terrible. But this game is like that terrible. It's horrible. It's a terrible game. Wolf, did you ever play this one?
I did, and I got to be honest, I didn't know what to goddamn do. I mean, ET.
No one did.
It was like I would just. It was like maddening. It didn't make any sense. Like, you had to find all the parts of ET's ship and get him home, and nothing made sense. And like, you took a step and then you fell into a pit, and then
You couldn't get
people are
out.
coming to drag you off. And
Yep.
it was horrible. It's exactly. Oh my God, I'm still laughing at what you said. It was so funny. Did you say ET stands for extra testicle?
That's what it felt like. Like, it's not good for anything. It's just in the way. Why is this here? That's what it's for. I mean, like, it's like I don't know why this. All you do are cause me problems and just embarrass me. That's it.
So right now, I did look it up, and I hate to say, sadly, that a loose copy is about $8.
Oh man.
So
Woo!
it's
We're breaking the
yeah,
bank.
yeah,
Breaking the bank.
yeah. I thought it was worth more before all the reasons that you said, the nostalgic reasons, but
There
I
isn't any Atari
honestly,
game.
I wouldn't even take a dump on that because I cherish my dumps more than wasting it on that game.
Yeah,
So
there isn't. Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to spin this so it's not so negative, right? Because nobody wants to come on here and watch Law and have us just bash in the system. So
I'm
again,
sorry.
nostalgia-wise, the system is great for nostalgia purposes. For
Yeah.
collecting, again, great if you just want to collect for it, but you're not gonna most likely play this stuff because, like we're pointing out, I don't want you to get on there and go, you guys talk so great about all the Atari stuff. I went out there and grabbed one myself. I started playing it,
Yeah.
and you know what? F you guys. That was terrible. So we're
Yeah.
making sure you see the pros and the cons. Pro, it was made. Con, it does not hold up today. There you go.
Well, there you go. I mean, and to each his own.
Yep.
Hey, look, I love. It's okay.
Yep.
It's where this is all subjective, right? Our show is subjective. There's going to be people that watch this that are in their mid to late 40s that think we're insane, that they collect Atari, they still play it to this day, it's their favorite system. Guess what? God bless you if that's you, and that's awesome, and I'm very happy for you, and I'm glad that you enjoy the system, and that's what it's all about, and I would never take that away from anybody. And I think it's awesome, and I have some fond memories too, but we're just being realists. And in 2023, with virtual reality and PS5 and Xbox Series X and all these cool games and stuff, I'm sorry, you're not going to go back and you're not going to play combat. All right. And you're not going to have
or
a
Battle
good
Zone,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Just not.
You're just not. And it's like Dan said, you're going to put it on and you're going to play it because you have a memory of playing it when you were a kid. And your memory is not going to match up to what it's like today. You're going to be like, whoa, this stinks. This is awful. So,
yeah.
And I love video games, and I'm just being honest with the audience. I cannot play the Atari. And even emulate it, I try to go back. There's a few games that I will play, like Freeway, where you got to get the chicken across the road. I do like that. I like Frogger. I like Pitfall, but they're few and far between. And I would say 98.6% of the library does not hold up at all today.
Seconded.
Yep.
Seconded. Yeah.
And and I'm glad that you looked at the watch, because that is a cue that first off, you can't top ET. I think we should leave on a low note like that. And I think that's a good way to kind of wrap up the show. Now we're supposed to have another
touch on
guest.
a few games. You have to touch on a few of the other known ones, just really quick. Are you
All
cool
right.
with that real fast?
Yeah, definitely.
Defender. You have to touch on Defender. Defender
Okay.
is definitely a Atari classic. Missile Command. You have to talk about Missile Command, another good one.
Here,
right?
I got one for you if we're going to talk about
Yep.
quick ones.
Asteroids. Yep.
That's a must.
Yep. This one is actually probably my #1 favorite Atari game. That's why I'm going to talk about it for a second. Atlantis. Believe it or not, this game looks ridiculous.
That's a great game.
This game is super fun. So that's why I didn't want to go without dropping knowledge on this one. Atlantis is a really, really fun game and not very well known. So if you get a chance, this is one of those ones that I would suggest on actually trying out. It is a fun game, believe it or not. It's a 1 or 2 player game as well. So that's another fun fact when it comes
What's
to
the
this.
company that makes that? All of their games that look like that are pretty solid.
Is it Imagic?
If I can remember.
I think it's Imagic. Who is
okay,
that?
they're good then.
Yeah, I got a few of these, like Demon Attack. Yeah, it's Imagic.
Oh, that's great. I love Demon Attack. That's a great game.
Yep. So I mean, so there's a lot of fun games. You can get in here. You can find like Spider-Man. There's all these weird ones. G.I. Joe, right? There's all these different. And another one of my favorites.
More like G.I. Ho.
Yep. Strawberry Shortcake.
Another.
No, that's
strawberry shit cake.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, some of these are not. They're. Yeah, like this one is. I remember being fun. I remember playing it in the arcade. Food Fight. You just. Threw watermelon and peas and pieces of food at people, which I thought was fun.
Yep, my last one that I want to touch on, and only because this is super rare for me at least, and so I want to just touch on it for a minute. Is I do remember playing this a lot, and it was kind of similar, sort of to. I'm guessing I never played Adventure, but this is probably similar to that. It's called Sword Quest. I don't know if any of you played that one, but a couple of things I want to point out here. So so you could win $150,000, right?
Yeah.
And then also this piece here, this is what I want to kind of talk about for a second, is the exclusive inside is an exciting new DC comic book. So here's what's going to happen. This is actually open already, so I'm going to open it up and I'm going to show you. I actually still have all of here's the game itself. This one looks like, right? This one actually has, and I was amazed because I totally forgot that it still had everything inside it. It still has. I have 2 posters. This one had 2 posters that came with it. The actual book that came with it, right? The actual manual. And I got to show you guys this. This is freaking cool. Like the
Is that the
sword.
hint book?
This is the comic. It's a comic that came with it. That's what they were talking about
Oh,
at the beginning.
okay.
So I just wanted to take a second to show, like, Atari games, some of them, of course, if it's sealed, you're not going to be able to see this stuff. But there is some really, really cool stuff with older retro systems. So every once in a while, you'll find some random weird stuff like study guides and things that are just really, really cool. Like here's what it looks like. This is a DC comic. This is who made this one. So, I mean, good colors, really, really cool. But this came in an Atari game, which I just thought was just mind-blowing. Now, the game itself, not doesn't hold up. It's not something you're going to go out there and play again. Back in the day, I played it a bit. I tried really hard to play it recently, and it's not fun. So, but nostalgia-wise, and these cool little things that you find inside the boxes are dope. Wolf, if you have this game, don't open it up just to look at it. If you want to know what the comic's like, I'll let you see it. So
I don't have a sealed copy. Mine's open, and
okay.
I don't know if you know this, Dan, but they came out with a few sequels. They came out with one called Fire Quest,
Oh no.
and they came out with one called Water Quest. And I think the third iteration is super rare. I've never seen it. I
Oh.
think it's either water or earth. I don't know if it's is it
Earth Quest.
no, is it earth? Is it wind? It's something. It's all the elementals.
It's
So you
Earth,
got
Wind, and
sword,
Fire. Is it
something like that. Yeah.
The dance? No, you're not gonna start doing it.
I bet you don't have this game, Blue Ball Blazer.
I don't. I don't have blue
Okay,
ball.
well,
No.
good. You don't want it
I don't.
anyway.
I don't
So,
try. I try not to have blue ball as much as
yeah.
possible.
So then there you go.
So yeah, I think that's a good spot. So we touched
I
on
think
a
so.
lot of games. There is a lot of games out there. We're gonna take a second to talk about now collectability wise. Like, is this something that you're wanting to do? Is this something that you're wanting to collect for? And so I'm gonna give it a grade. Again, we already kind of touched on. It is easy to find consoles. It's easy to find controllers, and they're relatively inexpensive. There's a lot of backwards compatibility. Like you can buy a 7800, or I don't know about the 8000. I've never seen one, but you can play these older games, and it's backwards compatible. You can buy games and play them. So I would suggest buying one of the newer iterations of the system. Not expensive. The games themselves are dirt cheap. Like half the time they're almost giving it away. I mean,
Sure.
Hep C is usually cheaper than some of these games, or more expensive than some of these games. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna actually give this for retro collecting. I'm gonna give it a D for Dantron. As far as retro collecting, Dantron approved, but not Dantron approved for actually playing the system. It's not something that you're gonna play. It's something that you're gonna set up as a museum piece. You're gonna show people this stuff. You might have one or two of your friends that really want to. Oh yeah, Atari. They're gonna play a few of the games that they remember, or they're gonna play it for a second and go, all right, that's not fun. Let's put something else in. That's just what's gonna happen. So again, I'm gonna give it like a straight D. And the only reason it's not a failure is because it's so freaking cheap. Like you can get the games dirt cheap, and so you can get into it. If you only have a little bit and you want to start retro collecting, this might be one of the ones that you can dip a toe in. But there are other consoles out there that I feel are better for retro collecting because there's more stuff you can play on it. That's what I got, Wolf.
I think it's well said. I don't know how I could top that because I kind of agree with everything that you're saying. All right, I'll take a slightly different approach here. You're going to be shocked when I tell you this rating.
I'm ready. Give it to me.
S tier.
Oh. For the stuff that comes out of your bottom into the toilet?
Yep.
I know you. Yep.
I'm giving it an S plus, and an S plus is for shit plus, and you could kind of figure out where it goes there. And I'm only giving it a plus because of some of the things that Dan said. If you're a collector and you're older, you're in your 40s, and you want to, I don't know why you would want to do this, but if you want to collect the physical copies as opposed to emulating it.
If you want art on a box that looks like Chuck Norris, I mean that's good too. That's another plus.
Yeah, so it's getting an S plus for me, and S does not stand for amazing like S tier like it would today. It's a poo poo. It's a poo poo plus. And I'm just sorry. I don't care what anybody says. I'll argue with you till the cows come home. The games are unplayable. The joystick is horrible. It's the graphics and just everything about it is terrible. You're gonna have a hard time hooking it up to a current TV. There's just it's so many minuses, and really the thing that stands, I guess, as a positive is nostalgia.
It's
That's
there.
kind of it.
It
I
the
mean,
yeah.
I do want to get this real quick and show this real.
as
Take
as a
right.
nostalgia piece, it is something that is when you think retro video games, like a lot of people, retro video games, the wood grain 2600 is iconic. It just is. You're going to
Yeah.
have it sitting on a shelf and it's going to look sexy as hell, but you're not going to pull it off and plug it in often. You're just not. And if you are, it's going to be for nostalgia purposes, as he said. And again, not knocking you people that love Atari. I loved Atari at the time. But now, as a retro collector and as these other systems have come out, it is not one that is held up well. It's just not, and it's reflected in how cheap everything is. Not
Excuse me.
exactly Atari, right there. Good job, Wolf.
Well, we talked about how like you would play the Atari games and you try to get a score. And I was very competitive with my dad, and I told you about how much we loved Activision games. Well, Activision had with their games, when you play their games, if you got a high score, then you would take a Polaroid shot of it and you would send it into Activision. And if your score was high enough, they would send you a patch.
Very cool.
And I have about 10 of these.
So cool.
This is from Barnstorming, the Atari 2600 game, and this is one of my favorite games, Stampede, where you're trying to like rattle in the cattle. So I have a few others. I forget where they're at. There one for Pitfall, one for a Mega Blaster or something. But anyway, sorry, I know we're going to get a lot of backlash for maybe
I
some
don't
of
think
our
so.
comments, but
I don't think so. I think everybody's going to kind of agree and go, "Oh, yeah, that sounds like a system that might be kind of fun. I'll look into it." That's what we want you to pros and cons. But I want to stop for a second and go back to what Wolf just showed you there. That seeing one of those in like real life, somebody holding it, not just like a random picture you found online, that stuff doesn't exist hardly anywhere. Like what he just showed you is like straight up retro gold. Like seriously, there are things that people will pull out. We might even pull it out in this show from time to time and show you that you'd never known about. Like the Siemens microphone that he showed when we were talking about Dreamcast. So those patches, specifically those patches right there, those patches are something that you just won't find. Like that him showing you those that's something that's when you pass down some of your stuff to your kids, Wolf, those are things that are going to just have to be passed down because they're just not around. And there was very few of them that went around because who's going to take a Polaroid, take the time to send it in, unless they were avid gamers. And little kids weren't really going to do that stuff. They had to be kids that had gamer parents, which there wasn't very many of those around. So thanks for showing those, Wolf. I remember you had those, but I totally forgot. And
yeah, I
that is
remember
those are awesome.
just a second ago. Yeah, I have them on my shelf, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'll show them real quick. That's a
Those,
positive. We talked a lot of negative, but there is a lot of positive too. So
right. So, that being said, that's what we got for you for Atari. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to do a second Atari episode. I know we always talk about we can have a second or a third. We might. We might have another Atari episode, but I'm going to, yeah, maybe we'll get my guest we'll talk with him a little bit, and maybe he'll want to come on and have a short little ad lib. We'll add a little supplemental part B, and he can talk about his nostalgia and what he remembers and how he got it and all that kind of stuff. But unless that happens, Atari's. Yay, we did it. Enjoy, you
yeah,
guys. These are the jokes.
right.
Right. Let me tell you this. So I had hair before I started playing Atari. I played Atari, and guess what? Follicles even got angry. They just started falling out. So, and it wasn't because I'm too hot. It was because it was like, I can't believe we're doing this right now. I'm surprised I don't have to wear contacts, because Atari now, especially if you try and play it, it's going to be the same way. You're going to be like, nah, dude, I'm not about that life. Unless you get into some of the 7800 games. Some of those are they play pretty
Oh,
well.
definitely.
They play pretty well. They look nice,
Yeah.
but again, you're still gonna have to fight with those controllers, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
controllers
those
are
those
not good.
erectile dysfunction controllers that just don't work well. So they're just floppy. So, anyways, thanks, Wolf, for being part of this, man. As always, I love just hanging out. This is us just chilling in the back room, just talking mess about
I
things we
know.
like, things we don't like, why we don't like them, why we do like them, and I love this time that we get together to just hang out. And it's cool that we decided to just kind of record it so other people can see it. If they don't like it, so be it. If you like it, great. Just give that kind of a like or a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it. But I mean, I'm not doing this for the money. I do it just because I have fun. And I do it because I like hanging out with Wolf and talking games with him because he is an encyclopedia of gaming. And any of you that, if you ever get a chance to spend some time with Wolf, he is one of the most genuine guys that you ever meet, and he is super kind, willing to give his time, and he has such a wealth of video game knowledge that I just love to experience. So thanks,
Oh,
Wolf, for being a
thanks,
part of this.
Dan.
Yep.
Thank you. That's I don't get compliments a lot, so I appreciate that. I don't even know how to take it, but I agree with everything that you said. And I was kind of a little like apprehensive about this episode. Like we didn't really like talk about like the games we were going to show and stuff. Like I feel like I kind of just like threw this together like last minute here. I tried to find stuff. A lot of my stuff's in storage. I was getting frustrated. I'm sure you saw my thread. I was just I got stuff everywhere, just like you, Dan. I got bins, I got stuff in the attic, stuff at my dad's house. But it came together well, and I can't wait to watch this back on Tuesday, and hear all the jokes and funny stuff, and really communicate with the community. And I hope a lot of people hop on and chat with us.
Yep. Sipping nips and not touching tips with the community is all about it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Good
No doubt.
jokes, good times to be had in the chat when the premiere happens. So thanks to you guys that enjoy that and have given us feedback on it. And we really enjoy doing these. And then we're just happy that there's somebody that likes to watch them too. So that being
Yep.
said,
The shout out for Endgame Arcade. He's a loyal follower. He was one of the guests. He always has criticism and comments for us, mostly positive,
yep.
and he definitely comes to those lives and hangs out with us as well as some of our other friends.
He's
And we
gonna get
really
on there and go, "Why didn't you
appreciate
talk
him.
about this game?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I know. It's just, yes, exactly. We did what we did, and that's that.
Yep.
So thank you very much, Dan. Always a pleasure hanging with you. And
Absolutely.
and until next time, I think next show is going to be a banger. We're not going to give anything away, but I think it's going to be a heavy hitter.
Super heavy in
Boom.
your mouth, all in your mouth and all over your chest. That's exactly. I'm excited about that one too. So until next time, my friends, later.
Peace.